funny costume because actually Apple devices, and particularly the iPad and the iPhone, are my hobby and sort of side passion. Like many of you, I think golf, I like to do like into my phones. But in the real world, I am a vice president and financial consultant at Merrill Lynch downtown. So that's why I have this uniform on, so I just came to the office. Okay, so today we're going to go over iOS 6, and we've got a pretty big group here. I'm going to take questions as we go along. If it's something that I'm going to cover later, I'll just tell you, hold on to that question, we're going to get to that, and if I don't get to it, please remind me. Now, this first slide I have up, NMUG's membership information, is anybody, how many people here are familiar with NMUG's, the Apple group in town? Okay, good. And are all of you members or just aware of it? Members? All members? Okay, good. Well, there is a Apple users group in town. It's one of the strongest in the country. I've been a member for about 3 years. George is in the back. He's one of our officers, and he's been a member for how long, George?
About 10 years.
10 years. We meet every Wednesday, generally at 11:30 at the library on Central downtown. And I want to talk just a bit about that club because it might be of interest to some of you. We do have applications here. I think they're on the back table if you want to grab one on the way out. It's a whopping $20 a year to join, and a family membership is $25. And there are some benefits to being a member. One of the benefits is you get to post questions on our board. It's a board that's done through Yahoo, and you can post a question about, well, I'm having trouble with notifications, and how do I do them? And you'll get all kinds of responses. Or I'm having trouble emailing a picture to somebody, what's the problem? And that is a real handy tool that comes with membership. Also, you can get, of course, notifications of our meetings, the subjects of the meetings. And we do classes at Hodgins University. There are usually 8 or 10 of those a year. You have to be a member to attend those classes, and the classes are generally $10, George?
Yes.
Yes, $10. They're like 3-hour classes, and they're on various topics. So we have one for beginners. It's actually was, I think, this week. We have the next 2 will be on Mountain Lion. Then I know there'll be one probably on iPhoto. I know that there's, I'm doing one on iOS, the same subject as today, only in a lot more depth. But you have to remember to get in on those. So this is our website. If you just do a Google search on NMUG Naples, you'll get a link to this. And one of the reasons I put this up is it has some useful, this is the public site. Once you become a member, you can get into the private area, which has the discussion groups. It talks here about, I actually hit on the membership. If you go to the About, I think this is where it comes up first. It'll be a picture like this. If you hit on the membership area, this comes up, and here's the $20 and so on. It's got a place here where you actually can print out the form if you don't pick one up in the back and you do want to join. Also of interest to this group is we have meeting videos. And we are taking a video of the meeting today. So that'll be posted on this site in what, 2 or 3 days, George?
Give it about a week.
About a week. And it'll be dates. And there are other meetings here. We don't tape every meeting, but we tape the more important ones at the club each week. So those meetings are weekly down at the other library, generally at 11:30. I say generally because sometimes, like this week, there was a conflict and it was at 1 o'clock. We also have one meeting a month in the evening. It's generally the third Monday, George, or second?
Yes.
Third Monday of the month from 5 to 6:30. And the format of those meetings is the first meeting of the month is generally question and answers. So people come in, and there's usually, in season, there usually be 50 to 75 people in the room. And the monitor of the meeting will ask for questions. And you ask a question like, I'm having trouble emailing photos to shrinking them and emailing them to somebody. Okay, so they put that up. Somebody else will say, I'm having trouble with syncing my iPhone to my calendar to my iPhone. Okay, put that up. And they get 8 or 10 questions in there, and then they answer them. And there's 2 meetings like that a month, the first and the third. The second meeting of the month is on iOS devices, like today. And the last meeting of the month is on iOS. So that's a little bit about our club. Any questions about the club?
Which Wednesdays?
Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, generally at 11:30, but sometimes there's a conflict and we have to change the time. If you're a member, you're notified of that. If you're not, I suggest you call the library or be on. I don't think it's on their site, is it, George?
There's a calendar, if you belong to the group and you get on the site, there's a way of downloading the calendar.
Yeah, if you're a member of our group for $20 a year. Okay, so with that, I wanted to show, I'm just going to show a little bit of this video. This happens to be Forrest Aldi, a fellow that was demoted at Apple recently for botching up maps and a couple other things. But he's really a bright guy. But he did this presentation on iOS 6 when it came out. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 14 minutes long. But the other reason I put it up here is there's one of the best hints I can give you today is Google is your friend. And by that I mean if you get on Google and you type in a subject, you will find an answer. So like I went into Google and I typed in YouTubes, and then when I got to YouTubes, you notice, my trusty pen out here, you notice that there's a little thing here on YouTube's to do searches. You hit on that, you type in iOS 6, you hit enter, and you'll get all kinds of videos. You can see, well, these are other ones, but you'll get all kinds of things. And if you get on there and type in iOS 6 notifications, you'll probably get a demonstration of how to do notifications. Google is your friend, and there's a lot of videos that people post on YouTube. A good way to tell if it's a good video or not is a lot of times you'll see how many views there were. Like here, there's been 500,000 views. That's probably worth watching. Pull one up and there's been 500 views. Well, you can take a look at it, but if it's 500 versus 20,000, you'll be looking at the 20,000 first. So I'll just play this for a second, and then we'll move on.
The best Facebook experience ever on a mobile device. We're integrating Facebook right into iOS 6. You can now go to the Settings app and enter your username and password, and now you're ready to go. You don't need to re-log in when you go to an app from the App Store, including Facebook's app. We're also making it really easy to post to Facebook for many of our apps. You can post photos from the Photos app, post about websites from Safari, put locations from Maps. You can talk about your favorite app, your own app in this case, from the App Store. You can talk about movies, TV shows, and movies from the iTunes Store. You can talk some smack from the Game Center. We've also integrated it right in with Notification Center, so anywhere you are, just drag your finger down from the top of the screen to reveal Notification Center, and you can tap to post to Facebook, and we've added Twitter right into Notification Center as well.
Okay. I don't want to go through this whole thing, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a demonstration of how the the YouTube videos work. Any questions on that? Okay. So, this is my homepage. Everybody has a different looking homepage, but this is my homepage, the first page on my iPad. This happens to be an iPad 3. These are some of my favorite apps, and if I have time, I'll go over a few of those today. But I just want to bring that up, and then if you slide your finger, of course, and probably knows this, from here to here, it'll bring up the next page and the next page. These are various folders that I have set up. I'll talk about setting up folders, but don't remind me about that. I'm going to forget that one. And here's other ones. What I tend to do is ones that I'm not using, I tend to put way back here. And if I really don't want them on my machine, I delete them. It's hard to delete them. You can't delete them completely. They'll be in iTunes. And you can even go into iTunes, hook up to your computer, go into iTunes and look at the list of apps in iTunes, and you can delete them from there. But if you go to re-download that app, it'll say you've already purchased this app, or you've already had this app, and it'll put it right back in. And keep a record forever of the apps that you brought in. Yes?
Do they have a alphabetic listing or anything like that? Something similar to what you do in the library?
An alphabetic listing, you mean like in the App Store?
No, I mean, instead of using this icon.
Oh, no, they do not. They do not, but you can make your own. I mean, you can, if you're one that's into alphabetic listings, I mean, each of them has a name, and you can just drag them. I'll show you how to move them around. What you do is and this is the same on the iPhone. All this stuff is the same on the iPhone. It's not, I'll point that out. But you just hold your finger down on any one of these, and they'll start jiggling. So I'll hold my finger down on this one, and you see how they're jiggling? So if I say, well, I want to move this up to here, it just moves it. You just drag it up there. Everybody see that? Yes?
Is there a difference having the app Google rather than typing it in?
Yes, there is, and I'll get to that. But one of the things I want to show is that, okay, so if you want to move this to it, if I want to make a folder of apps, if you noticed, I have several folders, and I do have those alphabetically arranged, and I did that myself. So, in other words, this is apps, this is app news, this is books, cars, education, so on. I had to arrange those on the screen that way, okay? So, actually see that travel's in the wrong place, so, you know, I will just move that right here to where it belongs, okay? Now, but, so what I do is, even though I have folders like this, I'll still keep the ones that I use very often out of a folder on the front page. That's just the way I do things. So it's like this Weather Channel. That's my favorite Weather Channel. Weather Channel is the favorite one, my go-to to do the weather. So I just leave it on my front page. If you go back here, I've got a few more weather apps in the folder. It's just a personal preference. You could probably put the Weather Channel in there too and go to the folder and open it up. But since I hit on it generally every day, I just leave it on my home page. That makes sense. Now, what I want to show real quick while this is still wiggling to the back page. And let's just say we wanted to make a folder. Well, how do you make a folder? Well, you start off, and here there's no folders on this page. There could be, but there's none. So let's just say I want to put all these in a folder. So I would go like this, and I'll go like that. Okay? And then it says news. But let's just say, well, I don't want it to say news. I want it to say other. Okay? That's how you change the titles. So now it says other. The thing that's sort of sloppy about this is you have to do one at a time. So, in other words, now I want to add this one in there, I gotta drag it over, okay? Everybody see that? Okay, same on the phone. Now, you say, you know what? I really don't want this one in, I don't want this folder anymore. How do you get rid of it? Well, unfortunately, it's sort of sloppy because you gotta drag these out. When you drag them out, you gotta do them one at a time. So the folder's still there. Now, when I drag it out this time, the folder will disappear. Back in, there we go. When I drag it out now, I still have to drag out this one. And now the folder disappears. Okay? So that's how you do folders. Yes, sir?
Have you discovered a great word processor for iPad?
A great word processor.
Yes.
I don't know, George? What do you mean by word processor? Do you mean,
They can download they can buy the app for pages.
pages, would be the, what
To
would
write
be?
letters and memos.
Yes,
and that sort of-
pages, and I think I have pages on here, but I never use it. Okay, so, I'm gonna get back to that in 1 second. These things are squiggling, how do you get them to stop? You hit the home button, which you can't see here, we're gonna go over that in a minute, but you hit the home button, and, it will stop.
How do you make a folder to start with? I mean,
Okay, so let's go back in here, you gotta get them to jiggle, okay? And you hold the button down, you see them jiggling. And then I'm gonna take this one and put it on top of this one.
what if I don't have a folder?
I don't have a folder. You see a folder up there? Watch, magic. There's the folder, okay? And then here's where you can change the name. If you want to, you just hit there and the typewriter will come up and you change the name, okay? And if you want to add more to that folder, again, you just drag it over and drop it in. You got that now? You can't do it in what? Older iOS, yeah, an older iOS, you gotta have iOS 6, 5 or above, and also, I don't know if you can do it on the original iPad, right? No? Okay. You got a current device, the last, iPad 3, iPad, you can do it? Okay, good. Some of the things on iPad 2 you can't do. I don't know that you can do Siri, for example.
No.
Okay, right, okay. Yes. Yes, I'll show you that. So I want to get rid of this real quick though. So again, I'm going to get in here and drag these out. Again, I told you, you got to do them one at a time. Sort of no easy way to do that yet. So let's say that I want this one and I want it on a different page. You actually drag it over to the side here and it will move. And sometimes it's not as easy as you think. You pull it over there and it doesn't want to move, but that's how you do it. Okay? Okay, pages. I'll go to that real quick. And let's just hold off on pages for 1 minute, but remind me of that again, because I want to show a couple important pictures here before we get too far along. There is a real security threat on these iPads and iPhones that people in our group, our age group, are targeted by a particular audience that steals iPads and iPhones, and I was able to capture this on a trip that actually happened to me. And so I wanted to just show that to you, to just warn you of this threat, because it happens all the time to people our age. And here are the thieves. Right here. You see what happens? You see? And yeah, What are you bugging me for? So I'm sure that you have thieves in your own family. I hope you do. They're very enjoyable at most times. Okay, so enough of the thieves. Oops, let's get back over here. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to show you was a diagram of the iPad and go over some of the simple things that you may or may not be aware of. So this comes right out of a book. It's called the iPad User's Guide. What you want to do is, and I'll do this in a minute, you want to Google iPad User Manual, and it'll come up in the Google search, and the one that you want is on the Apple site. It's a free download, and you download it into iBooks, which is a free iBooks app that you can get from the App Store. This book has everything in it, and you can search. So if you say, well, I want to know something about notifications, you can just book and search, and notification things will come up in the book, wherever notifications is mentioned. But on page 5 of this book, the book is 200 pages, it shows you some of the key functions. Of course, this is the screen. This is the home button. It's that round button on an iPhone or an iPad, and I'll refer to that periodically today. So the home button is the one that's indented, and it's on the top or bottom, depending on how you're holding the device. These are called icons, app icons. This is the status bar, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is the FaceTime camera. If you're doing FaceTime, you can do FaceTime with iPad 3 over the internet, and you can do it on the phone. iPhone 4 and 5, 4S and 5. I don't know if you can do it with 4 or not, but FaceTime is something that's, or Skype, same thing. That's where the camera is, right there. Then on the back of the device, on the side, this long arrow area is the volume. This is the switch to, depending on how you have your set up, either to lock the device in, so it won't move into portrait mode, or to silence it, and we'll go over that. It's that little switch right there. This is the camera on the back. This is the sleep-wake button. This is the microphone, the head jack, and the micro SIM, which you will not need to get into except when they set it up. And usually the phone company or whatever does that on the Wi-Fi model. This is on the iPad 4. This is the Lightning connector. On the 3, it's the normal 32-pin connector, depending on what variety you have. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. One of the things I want to show the same thing for the iPhone. And there's a user manual, a guide for the iPhone. So here's the iPhone. All kinds of things here. I'm not going to go over all these, but the camera here is on the back. The home button is right here. The ring switch is right here. Ring switch or the mute button. The volume controls are right over here. Okay. Now, one of the things that people ask about are what are the funny symbols at the top. So, let me see. Well, these symbols right up here, and I'll show it on another slide. But these symbols will appear up in here. This one right here is the Wi-Fi signal. So it indicates that Wi-Fi is on this particular device. it would be lit up if it was actually connected to something. It's actually on. This is the battery, of course the time, this is the Wi-Fi, and this is the phone bars. But there are other symbols that'll come up there, and they've actually come up there and would drive me nuts trying to figure out what they were. I haven't seen this. What is this? Well, in the book, there is a listing on page 9, and it shows all those symbols. So remember I said here's the cellular thing. If it's in airplane mode, this one shows. LTE, it'll show LTE, 4G, 4G, 3G, 3G, Edge, E. The one that I was confused about for a time, actually I got a question about it the other day, is this one. This little arrow thing will come up every once in a while when you're on a screen at the top, and it indicates that location service is on for that particular app or whatever you're using. So there's all kinds of symbols that'll come up. The other one that comes up frequently for me is this do not disturb. I'm going to go over that feature. So a half moon comes up in that upper bar, if that's on. So these are in that book. And the book tells a lot. Any questions about that?
I thought I had downloaded it onto my iPhone 5, but if I'm not connected to Wi-Fi, I'm not accessing it. It says cannot open iPhone user because it's not connected to the internet.
Yeah, that could be.
So it's not residing.
It's not residing there. It needs to be downloaded, and if it were downloaded, you could. I'll show you what the book. I'll show you what the app and the book look like. There's pages. We'll get to that in a minute. I actually have a folder called Books. I go into there. I have 3. You might have more than that, but the only 2 I really use is the Kindle and the iBooks. This is a free download. This is a free download at the App Store on your phone or on your device. So you just go and search for iBooks, search for Kindle. You'll see these symbols. Download them. Free. So when I go into here, okay, here's my library, and if you go, I have it right now on PDFs. These are all PDFs. And I'll see a PDF on a site, so let's just say well, this is a piece of software I just bought called ScreenFlow. And they had 2 documents, and they were PDFs on their site, instruction manuals. So if you buy a new camera, Canon 100, you go to Canon's site, and they'll have a PDF. That'll be a 400-page book on that. And you can hit download PDF, and you can download it and open it up right in iBooks, and it'll show. So when I go to, let's go to, so here's what's in, when you hit your collection, you have books, purchased books, PDFs, and favorite PDFs. You can actually select the ones that are favorites. So here's all my books. And I'm going to open up, this is what that iPad user manual looks like. I've got 2 or 3 of them in here. Notice this one's not downloaded, and that's probably what you're experiencing. It hasn't been downloaded. Okay, so if I go right to here and pull this up, it comes up. And it comes up to those symbols, because I was looking at those the other day. But if I go to here, in any book, it'll show the table of content. And this is what's interesting. If I go to, let's see what happens if I go over here. Let's see. If I go over here, I can send this to I can make a copy, I can email it. I can go to, this is content, bookmarks, if I had any bookmarks. be able to resume and turn pages. Now, when you're in a book, so I'm in this book, and there's some things over here. You can change the type, make it bigger. That's brighter. I want to make it bigger. See how it's getting bigger? Okay. You see that? Okay. So we'll bring it back a little bit. You can search, I mentioned, so if you're having a problem, you say, I want to know about notifications. Okay? So it'll have everywhere that notifications is at. So it's pretty good if you have a question about something. You can just type it in, notifications, and you can go, setup. See if it comes up. No, it's not coming up. But you get the idea. And you can do that with any book. Yes?
So if you've never been in for books at all, you just go in and type in iBooks and it comes up?
Yeah, let's go to there for a second. That's worth some time.
I guess the question is, how do you download an app?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So this is the App Store. This comes on the device. And I've got mine down here. I've got my most popular ones down here. If you have a iPad, you can have as many as 6 down here. It comes with 4. I have my most popular ones down here that I use. And the App Store is one of them. So I'm going to hit on that right now. Go to the App Store. And I go up here to this area right here. And I'll type in iBooks. And there it is, right there. I'll just hit on that one. And there it is. Now, it says open because I already have it on my device. But it's a free download. And that's the one you would want. Yes?
When I download an app or a book to my iPad, does it end up on my iPhone at the same time?
No. It can. It can. There's a setting for that. I'll get to those settings. If you have the right setting, it will. I tend to not do that because certain apps are only made for the iPhone. And when I download them, I don't want them cluttering up my iPad.
So I can just change the setting if I wanted to go to the phone?
Yeah, you can change the setting before you download it, not after. I mean, it's not going to automatically go over. You'd have to go in the store and re-download it. But once you buy an app, this is worth talking about. What most people want to do, most families want to do, is they want to have one Apple ID that they use to purchase apps at the App Store. I have one that I use and then my wife uses. Okay? Now, we each have our own separate iCloud ID. Which one of us, it could be the same as the purchase account, but we don't do that, we have separate ones. Now, the reason for that in our situation is that I don't want her calendar and she doesn't want mine. And I don't want her contacts and she doesn't want mine. I have over 600 or 700 contacts. She has 100. So that's the way most people want it. Now, some people will say, a husband and wife, I know a few that say, you know, we want to share the same calendar and we color code it and everything. More power to you. So what I recommend, and what's generally most popular, is when you get your device and you set it up to buy apps, you want to use the same ID for that. When you set up iCloud, you want to use separate ones. And I'll show that. So I have this app on here, and if I didn't, I would just hit it and download it. If it's a new app that you haven't used yet, let's see if I've got one. Yeah, I do. This one right here, if it's a new one or it's just been updated, it'll show new. That's a new feature in iOS 6. So it says new. It means I haven't opened up that app or that new version of the app. That make sense? Yes.
I was trying to put the iBooks on mine, I've got an iPad too, it said, it wouldn't take it, said I needed iOS 5.
Oh, yeah, you probably do. You probably need to update to iOS 5.
Should I just go on and go to iOS 6?
I would go up to iOS 6 if you can on that device. Now, it depends on, is it an original iPad?
iPad 2.
iPad 2. I think iPad 2 will do iOS 5, won't it, George?
Yes.
Yeah. It'll do 6? Okay.
All right, good.
Yeah, you'll have to connect to iTunes and then hit update. Okay? Once you get to iOS 6, I think starting with iOS 5 and maybe 6, those updates are automatic now. You don't even need to plug into the computer anymore, which is pretty nice. Okay, but that's what a new one looks like. It'll say new. So that if you just are downloading iBooks, it's going to say new. And you're going to open it up and there'll be one book in there. I think they give you one book. I forget what it is.
How do you determine which operating system you have?
Oh, good point. We're going to get to that, so we'll go to that. Keep bypassing this guy's pages question. We'll get to that. I want to spend some time in the settings area. It's a very important area where a lot of things are. It's a wheel, and I have it in my favorites area here. Favorite meaning the bottom area. So when that comes up, this is what it looks like, and I'm going to go through these a little bit. This is the airplane mode. I'll get back to that in a minute. This shows that I'm on the Collier County Wi-Fi for the library. Bluetooth is currently off. Cellular data, that would show, this happens to be a cellular, I have a cellular data plan associated with this iPad.
Do you recommend getting cellular data ones or?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. Now, like my wife does not have, she just has a regular iPad. No, you got to make that decision when you buy the iPad. Do I want cellular or not? Yes, I want cellular. Do I want Verizon or do I want AT&T or whatever other flavors there might be out there? Each of them has their own pricing. This one happens to be with Verizon. I've had AT&T on everything else up to now. And when I get to my next iPad, I'll probably go back to AT&T because I like their pricing on better. The reason I have it is Big Brother, which is Merrill Lynch and Bank of America, does not have Wi-Fi in our office. So I can't get on my iPad, and they also block us from checking our private email, like in Google or whatever. And so everybody knows that, it's not a secret. And so everybody who wants to be able to check their email during the daytime or do anything else at their lunchtime at the desk will end up getting a Wi-Fi model so that they can connect to the internet. The other reason is that when I walk into the doctor's office, when I go anywhere, this iPad generally goes with me. If my wife says, let's hop in the car, we're going to Costco, my iPad's in the car because she might want to stop at some dress shop and be in there for 5 hours. You know how I feel. I'm just kidding. But I just like to have it there because there's so many times when I'll pull it out and I'll say, well, you go ahead and go in and I'm going to just fiddle around here and read my book or do whatever. And so I like to have it. I always take it when I walk in the doctor's office. This goes with me. I gave blood the other day, walked right in, They're plugging me in, and I'm sitting there reading my iPad. If you want to be able to do that kind of stuff, a lot more places are having Wi-Fi where you can actually do it, but a lot still don't. So if you want to get on the internet, you need to have that. Yes,
If I plug into the Wi-Fi here at the library,
yes,
when I go home, it automatically switches back to my home?
yes,
I don't have to do anything, right?
no,
Thank
yes. When you do have to do it is, which is irritating to me, is if you walk into McDonald's or if you walk into Starbucks, you have to go into the Wi-Fi area, which is right here, and when you hit on that, which I'm going to do right now, it will show you all the things that are available. So when you walk into McDonald's, it'll say not connected to Wi-Fi. You hit on here, and then you hit on AT&T. And it comes up and it says, hello, you're at McDonald's, and click here if it's okay. And you click there, and you're on the internet. And it's the same thing with Starbucks. Yes?
Is it worth having a hotspot zone type of, like Verizon has an internet connection?
I'm sorry, I'm not getting that question.
A hotspot or a zone that Verizon has allows you to get the internet.
Yeah, you mean like a MiFi?
Yeah.
Yes. If you have a MiFi, then you're all set. You just hook up your MiFi and you can go. That's another way to do it, rather than buy a Wi-Fi enabled device, is to have a MiFi. Yes?
Is there, assuming that your iPad also is hooked up to Verizon?
Yes.
Is there anything you can do on your iPad that you can't do on your iPhone or vice versa? I think they're the same.
Yeah, they're basically the same. You can do everything on the iPad that you can do on the iPhone, except some of the calling features and things. Before these iPhones, or before the iPad came out, my data plan on my phone was skyrocketing because I'm sitting there like this every morning trying to read the Wall Street Journal. Now I do most of that kind of work on the iPad because it's just so much easier to read. How many of you here incidentally have an iPad mini? Yes, you like those? Yeah, everybody I've talked to really likes those. I'll probably get one of those when they come out the next one. Yeah. Yeah. Women particularly like those. And I think they like them because they're just so much lighter and it just throws right in your purse. Okay. So back on to these.
Can you explain the Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi is a device. It's about as big as a pack of cigarettes. They have an AT&T, they have a Verizon. You buy a data plan with that device that allows you to get on the internet basically anywhere. And so you just have that device, and it runs on batteries, I believe. Don't they run on batteries? Yeah, they'll run on batteries for a while. And then when that's on, it's broadcasting an internet. And it's coded, so you put in your code for your iPhone or iPad, and you're in. Okay. Okay. And this is where that would appear, hotspot, right there. You just hit that, and if this were a hotspot, if I had I can actually do a hotspot from mine. That's where I would do that, and I could connect your device onto mine. Yes.
I just tried to connect to the Collier, library.
Yes.
And when I clicked on it, a screen came up asking me for an IP address and DHCP and several different things. Where do I go from there?
Did you just click on this, or did you click over here?
Over there.
You want to click here. So you want to go back. If you click over here, I'm going to click over there to show what he hit. If you click over here, here's what he's seeing. Okay? That's not what you want. Forget about that. Okay?
Excuse me?
Yes.
I'm sitting beside a lady.
Yes.
We have the same iPads. I can't get on Wi-Fi. It says no service and she's on.
It shows like she has Wi-Fi in the library.
It could be that there's so many people on that they cap it. Okay?
I have a question. If you
Yes.
have on yours, you have Verizon.
Yes.
And you have the Wi-Fi. Does it automatically go to the Wi-Fi first?
Yes,
Okay.
it
So you
does.
shouldn't have to disable that.
No,
No.
you can disable it if you want.
Right, I often do.
Yes.
I don't want to use my time or my data.
Right.
But, oh, I shouldn't have, it would still use the
It'll
Wi-Fi.
automatically go on, but if you walk into, again, a place like McDonald's or Starbucks, it won't automatically happen. Every time I go in, I have to go in and sign on.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have cellular data or do I have to buy that?
You have to buy cellular data if it's a cellular data enabled device.
That's what I mean. Is my device, how do I know if my device is?
Well, I'm gonna get to that. But we're gonna get to that in a second. You're on that. So, okay, you've got do not disturb, we're gonna get into that, notifications, general, sound settings, wallpaper, picture frame, privacy, and then these start to get into the apps, iCloud, mail, and so on, settings for those. But I want to spend some time going into this general area. And somebody was asking me about how do I know what version I have. When you go into general, the first thing you see is this about. And when you hit about, voila. And it says that I have version 6.01. That's the iOS version I have. Okay? 6.01. Now yours back there in the back probably says you have 4 or something. Okay, good. So that's how you tell what version you have. It also tells a lot of other things about this device. It says that here's the name of my device, and it says that the network, I do have Verizon, and that indicates that it is a Wi-Fi enabled device. It doesn't say Verizon or AT&T, then it's not. I have on my device 629 songs, 6 videos, 3,676 photos, 235 applications. The capacity of my iPad is the largest you can get. I have a capacity of 57 gigabytes, and I only have 1.5 megabytes available space left. I'll tell you what takes up the space is the videos. Videos take up a lot of space. Pictures really don't take up that much. Okay, it gives a serial number and so on. Now, here's a couple other things here at the bottom as well. Any questions on that? That's about your iPad. Yes, is that a question? Huh?
You lost the microphone there.
Oh, I lost it? There I'm back, but I think it's going to go out again because it's not, the battery she gave me isn't the greatest battery. Let me know if it goes out again. We'll see if I can do another. Did it go out again?
Out again.
I'll go get her.
All right, we might want to get her and tell her that her battery is not very long lasting. Okay, so I'll try and talk loud. Okay, so I'm going to go back out, I'm going to go back out of this general area, or out to this general area again. And here's where you do software updates. If I hit that, it's going to say that I'm up to date. Okay? Now, I want to show you something that some of you might have. Now, wait a minute. Update. Okay. Here's my phone. This is an older picture of my phone. And what I wanted to show is this number 1 on the settings. If you have a number 1 on your settings, it indicates case that you are behind on updates of your software. Does anybody have a 1 there? Yeah, okay. So when you have a 1 there, here's what happens. When you go to settings, these are pictures. When you go to settings, you go into, let's see, you go into general. See, it's got the 1 there too. See the 1? It's that 1. You say, oh, what's that 1 all about? Ah, it's a software update. When you go to software updates, it'll say, this update fixes bugs and or whatever, okay? And then what you do is it'll, depending on what version you're on, you're either going to have to plug in the update or you can do it over the air. And if you can do it over the air, you hit it, you hit update, and it'll just go. Oh, it's at 9 volt. Yes. Okay. So if you've got a 1 there, you want to take care of that. Yes, ma'am.
If you go back to the front page, where the numbers were next to some of the other icons, would you tell what they meant?
Yes, I will. Let me go back to that in just a second. So you download this, and it says installing. Yes, you want to install. And then this. We're installing, agree to the terms, right there, and then it starts installing. It takes a while. You got to be plugged in to do it. Do it at home. You got to be in. If you're doing it over there, you got to be in Wi-Fi. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's gonna run off.
Okay, I must be talking too much. I'm just going through these batteries right and left. Okay, so you see it's going in, and then when it does this verification, and you're done. Now let's get back out here. And these other numbers, is this what you were talking about? Okay. This indicates that I have one call that I've missed, or that there's a voicemail. This indicates that there's 5 emails that I've gotten that I haven't opened. Yes?
I have a question about email. When you send an email and it can't get delivered for some reason, and they send you a notice back saying, we're going to keep trying.
Yes.
But you finally get to the point sometimes where you'd like to say, enough already.
Yeah, I just had that, and it came back for 2 or 3 or 4 days, and finally it stopped. I don't know how to tell you to stop it any sooner. It happened to be a Gmail, and I was sending it to a bad address, and it just kept on, it kicked back, and I thought, okay, so I just deleted it. Then it tried to do it again, and again, and again, over a period of 2 or 3 days, and I think today's the first day I haven't gotten any yet. I don't know how to stop that. You know how to stop that, George?
No.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Question on incoming email, sometimes it takes a while before it populate.
Yes.
Why is that?
Okay, incoming emails, why would it sometimes take a while to populate? It could be a number of different things. Usually it's because your internet or your internet connection is slow, or you're not in an internet connection and you're doing it over over the telephone stuff, G3, G4, LTE, or it can be their servers. It can be the actual mail servers sending it to you are experiencing problems. And also can be that if there's a big attachment with it. Yes?
You might be worried about security and hacking.
In a public place, yes. I mean, I'm in a public place. I don't go on my bank accounts or things. You can get some programs called virtual private network apps that will secure your device. They do cost a little money.
But I'm getting at, did you get a virus?
No, no virus. No virus on an iPhone or an iPad. Computers, even in computers, I mean, we've gone over and over this at our user groups. If you have an Apple computer, there is really no need to have an antivirus program running on your device. At some point in time, there might be, but there just hasn't been a real threat out there. There was a threat a year or so ago, and it was not a big threat at all. It was only people doing things that normal people in this room wouldn't be doing anyhow. And so the answer is, if you have Apple, I converted everything to Apple 4 years ago, probably the best thing I ever did. Now I have everything Apple, and I have not had one virus problem at all on anything. Yes?
A question on the emails. I'm pretty much a novice, but I seem to get two, maybe three, the same emails showing like repetition.
Yes. That's because somebody who's sending them to you hit the button 2 or 3 times. That's nothing to do with you. Yes.
If you have multiple devices, say 2 Macs, and then let's say you have the iPad, what would you recommend for mail coming in? Do you want to triple it? I mean, is this choice, or can you eliminate it on, and if so, how?
Well, I'll tell you what I do, and I might be, I think I'm the exception to the rule if you have been a long time Apple computer user, which I have not. I told you I just converted 3 years ago. I do 95% of my email work, maybe even higher, on my iPad or my iPhone. The same email is on mail on my computer, my Mac computers. I have 2 of them. I do not like their mail program at all, so I rarely use it. But the same mail is there. And the reason it's there is because all the mail I sync it through iCloud, which we're going to talk about a little bit. And so it's all there. I just find it much more convenient and easy to use on my iPad.
So you don't open up mail then in your Mac? So
I rarely do, because I just have not grown up with that, and this is so much easier to use for me. So I don't do it. Yes?
I don't know if this is something I live with, but we still use, my wife still uses a regular computer, Microsoft computer.
We call that the dark side.
These things are faster than the latest regular computers.
Well, they're faster, and everybody gets pushed over the top for a reason when they go over to Apple. The first Apple device I owned was an Apple, was the first phone, and then I bought a laptop. And the reason I bought the laptop is because I liked the phone and Vista. And Vista pushed me over the top. And so Vista, and always fighting viruses and making sure I had Norton's, or I had one of those things going and refreshing it every year. And calling it's interesting. Does anybody in here belong to the PC group in town? Okay. You do? No? They also meet at the library. They meet once a month. And the reason I said that our club is one of the strongest Apple clubs in the country is most clubs will meet once a month. We meet once a week. So we really get a lot done. If you go to a Windows-type PC user group, the kind of questions you get is, my machine is running slow, and I can't figure out what to do. I got a virus, and I don't know how to get rid of it. And they spend 80% of the time talking about how to fix their machines and get them to run faster and what's the latest virus things that they ought to have on their machines and so on. When you go to an Apple user group meeting, they're talking about the kind of questions that you all have. I got 3 emails, and why am I getting 3 of the same emails? Or I want to send a picture somewhere, and how do I do that? Or the gentleman that has a question on pages, which I'm going to get to in one of these seconds. But they talk about real things on how to make the machine, how to do the machine, do things that you want to do on the machines, rather than how to just get the thing to work faster. Yes?
Can you actually access iCloud and mess with your stuff in it, or is it just storage?
It's just storage. You can get in there and see it. I don't know that you can mess around.
Can't change anything?
I don't think you can change things in the cloud. You have to change it on the device. It changes it in the cloud. It'll show
Because I
it.
have things that were imported into my iPad, my old groups, my address groups.
Right.
And I can't,
You have to get rid of them.
I can't get rid of them on my iPad.
Yeah, you can get rid of them. It can be difficult, but what I would do would be go to the Genius Bar, make an appointment at the Genius Bar at the Apple
That's
Store.
what I figured I'd have to do.
I'll tell you, I want to tell, I
I'm
want,
computer free now, so
Yeah.
I can't go back into my computer.
yeah. How many people here have Android device? 1, 2, 3, okay. Android, they're good devices. I mean, I really like that Galaxy 3 device. I got to tell you a little story about that. There's one guy in our office that he just refuses to buy Apple anything. And actually, my granddaughter has an Android device, and they're good devices. But he was telling me, he says, this device does this, and this device does that, it does this, and I said, well, that's great. And he said, well, what do you mean? He says, you're supposed to do that? I said, no, but you just told me all of the great new features I'm going to have on my next iPhone. And it'll even be better. And I said, let me ask you one question. I said, when something goes wrong with your Android device tomorrow, where are you going to go? And he looked at me with this real dumb look on his face, and he paused for about 30 seconds, and he said, the Walmart clerk? I don't have anything against Walmart, but I mean, when I have a problem, I go to the Apple store, and they generally solve the problem. Yes?
I was visiting my brother who lives in Seattle, and I guess they opened the first Windows store.
Yes.
There,
Yes.
University, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so like the Apple stores that are around forever. I guess it may be the only one, but they're trying to do the same kind.
They're trying to do the same kind of thing. They're about 3 or 400 stores behind, but, yes,
6 months ago, I bought my first tab, my wife bought me a Galaxy.
yes.
I bought her an iPad. I don't use my Galaxy tab. Anybody want to take
Yes.
Yes, I'm having trouble syncing my iPad and my Mac computer. For example, changing or exchanging files in
Right.
the contacts
Right.
application.
Right.
Have any suggestions?
I'm going to go over some of that, but it's best if you're having those syncing issues, to make an appointment at Genius Bar. If you can bring in both devices, just say, I'm having these syncing problems, or if either of your devices is under warranty, if you call up and get them on the phone, they're really good about helping you on the phone. Because those sync issues sometimes get complicated.
Yeah.
Let me hold off on a few questions right now and go on to a couple other things. I want to go on to, I want to go back to that settings area for just a minute, and there's a couple of things you ought to know about that I find very handy. One is this Do Not Disturb. That's a new feature with iOS 6, and you set it up with notifications. So what I'm going to do is hit on this right here, notifications. And the top one up there is Do Not Disturb. I'm going to hit on that right now. And I have it on. And what it says is it's going to be on from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. You can do this on your phone. I really like this on the phone more than on the iPad, but you can also do it on an iPad. But then And what that means is during those hours which you set up, if it's on your phone is not going to ring. You're not going to hear the text messages. You're not going to hear the email ding or whatever, any other sounds, except if you have your alarm set. Okay? During those hours. Now, so if somebody calls me in the middle of the night, not going to come through. But you can set up exceptions to that. And when I hit on this, let me go back because I did that too quick. When I hit on this, allow calls from, you see it says favorites? So I go and you could have allow calls from everyone, allow calls from no one, from my favorites, and then I have several, I mentioned I have about 600 contacts, so I could just select groups of contacts. I could select allow calls from my clients. I don't want clients calling me at 2:30 in the morning, but allow calls from my neighborhood. I live in Ketch K and Windstar. Allow calls from Merrill Lynch people, or whatever group you want. You can only choose one though, because watch what happens. If I choose allow calls from the computer group, which is NMOX, it takes off the favorites. They can only have one. And I have favorites. And does everybody know what favorites are on your phone?
Yes.
Okay? So, I mean, my favorites are my kids, my wife, my partner at work, a couple other people. There's about a dozen of them. If they call me in the middle of the night, the phone will ring. Okay? The other thing that will happen, I'm going to go back now. I'm going to go back. The other thing that happens on Do Not Disturb is if somebody calls you 2 times within, I think, a minute or within 3 minutes, it will come through. So I've told certain people, I've said, hey, if it's a real emergency, just call me twice in a row. And it will ring in the middle of the night. But don't tell the telemarketers that. Yes?
That won't just work for the iPad?
It will work just for the iPad. If you set it up in the iPad, it'll work just for the iPad. And if you get a text message in your iPad or other sounds that you might have set up, they're not going to happen between those hours.
That's wonderful, because my husband's got some type of a bugle thing on here. An email comes in and I hear him 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's how you turn those off.
How do we got that? And like you've got from 10 to 7. How do we?
Okay, so, well, right here, first of all, you got to turn it on. If I turn it off, it's off. Okay? So if I turn it on, then it'll say from when to when. If you hit this arrow over here, okay, this comes up. Okay? And so I set the time. I got it set at 10. Well, let's make it 11. So I go down to the wheel and just slide it up to 11. Now it's at 11 o'clock. And I got it at 7 in the morning. So what I'm going to do is touch on this 7. I'm happy with 11. Touch on 7. And notice it's now at 7 a.m. here. And I can change that if I wanted to. Okay? And then when I'm done, I just touch outside of that box and it goes away. And you'll notice it's changed now from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Okay? Now, that's a really, to me, that's a great little feature that they added. And I use that all the time. And I used to leave my phone, I used to turn my phone on silence at night. Because I didn't want to get all these text messages and email and stuff that you're talking about with your husband. She's so busy here, she doesn't even hear me. She's setting up this notification. Okay. Any questions on that? Yes?
Just 3 questions that have been bugging me. Can I do my taxes like TurboTax?
On the iPad? I do mine every year on TurboTax, but I've never done it on the iPad. I don't know if there's an app for that or not, but go to the App Store and type in TurboTax. Is there one? Okay, then you can do it.
Next question, do I have to back things up like I do with a computer? In other words,
It backs up automatically, and I'll get to that. I'm going to get to that with the iCloud stuff in a couple minutes.
one other question is, can you print?
Yes.
And I
You can print if you have an e-printer. You gotta buy a special type of printer. Just go in to wherever your print store is that you get printers from, and tell them you want a printer that you can print from your iPad or your iPhone, and it's an e-printer. Now, you can print from other printers as well. I have a HP printer that's 8 years old. It's a Wi-Fi printer, and it's not an e-printer, but it does print wirelessly. But from my laptop in the living room, if it'll do that with another computer, then it'll do it with the iPad. But you got to buy a program called Printopia. Printopia is a $20 program. You put it on your computer. Your computer has to be on. As long as your computer is on, when you hit the print button, it'll come up, and I can just print anything I want.
You don't have to set up for the printer or anything.
Printopia. Well, once you have Printopia on your computer, and your computer is on and running, and that's hooked to the printer somehow, then on your iPad, it will come up. That printer should show. Okay? And if you Google Printopia, you'll find all kinds of stuff. If you go to YouTube's, again, Google's your friend. Go to YouTube's, type in Printopia, you'll get videos of how to do it. Yes?
Forgive me if I'm asking you questions already answered, but I missed it.
That's all right. Well, I'm here.
In terms of establishing favorites for the do not disturb, how do you establish a favorite that would be allowed to interrupt?
Okay, well, on your phone is where I have all my favorites done, but you can do it, I think you can do it in contacts. Let me go look here and see. I never do it on the iPad, but, let me look up one of mine. Edit. I do not see that.
Previous screen.
Previous screen.
Previous?
Yeah. No, one back.
One back?
You just have your name.
Oh, where I just have the name.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, yeah. You mean here? No, that's just me.
I just found it.
Click on the name.
Click on the name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
All the way at the bottom.
all the way at the bottom right-hand side of the other page, where it says Eric Bryars.
Ah, yeah, add to favorites. Yeah. There you go. I never do it from this device. I always do it from the iPhone.
How do you do it from the iPhone?
Well, from the iPhone,
Oh, here, I see favorites right on.
Yeah.
The little
Okay.
star way on the side.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
If you have a printer on a little MiFi network, where
Yes.
you send, you have a MacBook and you print through your router, I'm sorry, just a router, say you have a router.
Right.
Can you print from an iPad going through the router to printer that's on the host network? Your own. In other words,
Yeah, but Printopia is going to have to be on that computer that's on the network.
What about what you did was to send yourself an email to your, let's say your Microsoft computer?
Then you can
print it from there.
yeah, you can do that. A lot of times, I'll get documents at work, and I want to print them at home for some reason. I will email myself at home, which Big Brother doesn't like sometimes, but I'll email myself at home, and then I can print it off at home.
Isn't the idea to get rid of the computer though, and go directly from the iPad to your phone, to the router?
Well, yes, if you want to do that, then you have to have an e-printer. You have to have a specific type of printer. They just came out with them a few years ago. There's probably a couple dozen of them on the market. HP was first to have it, and now there's a lot of them. But I don't have one, and the reason I don't have one is because I've got about $100 worth of ink to use before I cash in my old one. Yes?
There are some apps, and I can't remember the name of the particular one, that you can download and try and see if it'll print from the iPad to your regular printer. People have done that successfully. If it does, then you go ahead and buy it for $10.
Okay, yeah, I know there are some apps, and I haven't been down that road for a while. When they first came out a couple of years ago, they weren't working very well. So if it's a free try,
One
then
free try, if it doesn't work, then buy it.
that's right. And I'll tell you something is when you get on that app store, look at the reviews. If something doesn't have a 4 or 5 star review on it overall, I really question it. It's got a 3 or a 2, and just start reading those reviews. And I'll show you that real quick. So here's the store. So let's just say that we wanted to look at, you can see these reviews. Here they are. See them? No ratings on this thing. Those reviews are pretty good. And if you go to the particular app, let's go to this, I'm going to go to this one right here. I'll hit on it, and it'll bring that up, and it brings up a few samples of the different screens for that particular app that you can scroll through. It'll have a description of it, and then right here, ratings and reviews. They'll have people who have written in and talked about this thing, and you can read about those. It's a good idea to do that, particularly if it's going to cost you money. Yes? Well, there's only about 350 or 400,000 of them, so I don't know if there is a list anywhere. But you can search different categories. So you can, and you can look at tops in the charts. So these would be top free apps, paid apps, top grossing apps. It'll have those. It'll have featured apps. It used to have apps by category, and you took that off, and I'm sorry that they did. And you can search, and you can search up here for anything you want.
Can you tell us your 10 favorite apps?
10 favorite apps? Well, one of my favorite apps, and somebody asked about this, is this Google right here. And somebody was asking, do you use Google? There's 2 ways to use Google. You can use it on Safari, or you can use it right here. And if I put this up, and this is an app, so you just go in and search for the app Google, and you want the one that has the blue logo like this. And the thing I like about this is this voice thing right here. So if I go in here and go iPad user manual. There you go. Okay, and then this is the one I was telling you about. And the way you can tell is it says Apple support. That's the one you want. And so if I go to there, let's go there and see what happens. And it's got manuals for everything. So it says, here are manuals for iPad, iPad mini, user's guides. So if I hit on that, oops.
If we attend your meetings, are we allowed to do tests just out here?
Absolutely.
What was the question?
If they attend the meeting, are they allowed to bother you? And I said, absolutely. I don't know why this isn't coming up, but that's where you get that. Yeah, something happened, I didn't like it. It should come up.
Doesn't a manual take quite a while?
Usually just a picture of it comes up and you download it.
Okay, after you download it, where does it go then?
It'll go into iBooks. Okay? So,
What if you have to download it?
yes, you have to download iBooks, it's a free download.
Do you have to delete iBooks to free up space after you finish with the book?
No, you can delete books if you want, and books don't take up that much room. Let me go into the settings area again. I want to go into iCloud and get into that because it talks about that. Okay, so here we are. We're in settings, and all I did, if you remember, we started off up here, and we went into notifications, and we went into general, and now we're down here into iCloud. And this is where you start syncing your devices. And it says, here's my iCloud account, Bryars@mac.com. If you get a new one, it'll probably be, if I got a new one today, I actually have one that says iCloud.com, because they're moving to that name. But this says everything I want to sync. So I want to sync my mail.
What do you mean sync?
Sync. That means when I get mail here or send mail from here, it's going to send it to the cloud. There's the cloud up there, right there. And it's going to send it to the cloud. And if I have my iPhone, if you only have one device, you don't need to send it to the cloud. Unless you want to store it up there. But if I want to sync my mail from my iPhone and my iPad and my two computers at home together, then when I send mail from here, from my iPad, it'll go up to the cloud right there, and it shoots it back down to my phone, and it shoots it down to my other two computers.
And the computers don't have to be
They have?
Apple?
They don't have to be Apple. They don't have to be Apple. There is a special setup, I think, for Windows. It has to be a certain version of Windows. I don't know if it could be XP. You know, George?
No.
Okay.
Can I do my contacts like that?
Yes. Yes. Contacts is a favorite, so I was just going to say that. So I'm in here and somebody walks up to me and says, I remember you from somewhere, and oh yeah, your name is Bob Smith, and yeah, I just wanted to give you my new phone number, okay? I type in Bob Smith, I put in his new telephone number, it goes zap right up to the cloud, right to my iPhone, and right to my two computers at home.
Do they have to be on at the time?
No, they don't have to be on, because as soon as you turn them on, it'll update. June. You won't even know it, yes.
Which setting you just talking about? Which setting are you just talking about?
The contacts. Not much contact. But it would be the same thing with calendars. It's the same thing with reminders. Same thing with the internet. Same thing with notes. Photo stream, which we haven't talked about. Documents is misleading because the only documents it saves is pages. Pages. Yes.
How do I download my contacts from my PC and what's in here? I can't do that. I have to set all contacts again?
No, I think there's a way to do that, but you need to take your PC into Apple, to the Genius Bar, make an appointment, and take your device in there and tell them, hey, I want to get my contacts from here over, and they should help you with that. Unless you got a phone that's out of warranty or an iPad that's out of warranty. But even if it's out of warranty, they're very good about helping you with that.
That's fine if you got a laptop. If you got a desktop, you can.
Well, if you've got a desktop, it's more difficult, yes. But again, you can call them on the phone, call the Apple help number. Okay? And they'll be, and if you don't have that number, I can flash it up to you, but if you call the Apple store, stop in and say, hey, I need the technical support number for Apple, they'll give it to you.
Are you talking about?
Import them? I think that there is a way to import them, but when you get on the Windows side of thing, I'm 3 or 4 years removed, so I'm just not there anymore.
But there is a way, because I went to the Apple store and you can download all your contacts from your PC. And
Yes.
I'll walk you through it, I don't remember.
Yeah, they probably do it with a B card, export out of their system, but I'm not sure. But I know you can do it. People do it all the time. Yes.
Can you talk about storage and backup?
Yes, that's what I'm getting to. So this is,
Look back to mail, just a minute.
yeah.
If I create a iCloud mail, you know, will I get to my other email account from there?
Yes, you can have as many email accounts as you want.
If
They're all separate. They're all separate.
They're all, did they go through the iCloud?
Yeah, they go through the iCloud if you set it up, and I'm going to go over that. Let me have a minute to go over that. Okay, so here are the things you see. This Find My iPad or Find My Phone. You want to make sure you turn that on. If you lose your phone, leave your phone somewhere, you can go to a computer and you can find out where you left it. That actually happened to me. I left my iPhone one time at a Publix, and I got home and figured it out about an hour later. It was missing, and it wasn't in the usual places it should be. And I got on the computer and I saw, yep, I left it up there at Publix.
Where did
Right?
you go on the computer?
You just, to iCloud.com. And it just showed up. I think it's iCloud.com, me.com, or whatever the site is. The other place to get the Apple telephone number for help is Google. Google is my friend. Google, Apple support telephone number. And it'll be
But
there.
that's deceiving because you get a whole bunch of foreign, other people, advertisers.
No, Apple computer, not Apple advertisers.
Oh, no, I went and put in Apple Health and I got a whole bunch of different companies that.
Yeah, no, put in like Apple Computer Help or something like that. I mean, it should give you that. Or go to their site. Go to the apple.com site. And they got a search field there. And just put phone support or support. I think there's a tab for support. And you'll find telephone numbers. Yes?
For the mail, if you have it, put it on, it says create a free iCloud.com email address to turn on iCloud mail. Why would,
You have to have that. You have to have that. That's this account right here. And you have to have that to sync certain things, particularly notes and some of the other things. And it's free.
what do you use it for, then, the iCloud?
I don't use it for anything other than the syncing. You can use it for a mail account if you want to.
No, you can have the other things on without that having to be on, though, can't you?
Well, if you want to sync your mail, you have to have this here.
Right, I mean, if you wanted to sync your contacts and calendars, reminders.
And you don't want to sync the other things that require that, then you don't have to have it. Okay? But let me go on with this for just a minute. So backup and storage, I want to go to that. Right down here. Okay? Now, what this says is I have total storage of 25 gigabytes. They give you 5. Okay? And I purchased an additional 20. It says that I have available 17.8 gigabytes. And it will tell me, if you go to manage storage, right here, manage storage, I noticed somebody was asking about backups. I have backups are on. So it's backing up my data.
In the cloud?
In the cloud.
What would you say about
It's
that?
backing it up. It's backing up the apps. It's backing up, it's backing up like your contacts and basic things. It won't back up documents unless it's a Pages document. It won't back up certain things, so it is limited. Huh? Pictures? It'll only back up, no, it will not back up your pictures, only your picture roll. Only your pictures on the device that you've taken from the device. Ones that you've imported in, it will not back those up. You'd have to re-download those if you lost them.
Also, the advantage of iCloud is if you get both the news that's on the Kindle, if you want to read it on this, it's there, and you want to read it on your phone, it's there.
Yes, exactly.
When you put them into a thumb drive or your pictures from the?
Well, my pictures, I've got 12,000 pictures on my computer. I have my computer backed up in 3 or 4 different places, on 3 or 4 different drives, including one that I don't even keep at my house. So if somebody, because I've heard this story, just heard it twice in the last 2 weeks. One was from an Apple consultant that our group uses, and the other one was from an actual lady that experienced this. And in both cases, the person was robbed, and they came in, and they took their computer, and they took their iPad, and everything else that was on their desk, including the backup drives that they had that were backing up all their data. Now, the final fault for backup is to either back up to something like carbon copy cloner, which takes forever, or to back up to an external drive that you put in your safety deposit box, or like me, I have one at work. So if my house burns down, I've got a backup at work. Now, it might be 2 or 3 weeks old. And for my pictures, I actually purchased extra storage on Dropbox, and I have my pictures on Dropbox. Because my pictures cannot be replaced.
You have a couple of questions back.
Yes.
I just have a question. If you click on for iCloud backup.
Yes.
If you do that, a little window comes up and says your iPhone will no longer sync, basically, or back up to your computer. I have some voice memos on here, and then it changed, and there are things that I want to listen to again. If I click no and I sync to my computer, will they go back to my computer? Or once you click on, you're stuck with iCloud?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you, George?
No.
That's a question for Apple. Yes.
Is iCloud password the same as the Apple iTunes password?
No. You can set up a different password for your iCloud.
Answer this guy's question.
Yes.
I'm getting, when I turn my computer on, the iPad on in the morning, I'm getting a message telling me that my iPad hasn't been backed up for 5 weeks or something like that. And occasionally, in the middle of using in the process of using the iPad, I'll get the same pop-up message in the middle of the screen. And it tells me that it will not back up to iCloud unless the machine is plugged in, shut off, and connected to Wi-Fi. I have AT&T service on the thing, and I do have it plugged into an electric source, and I am shutting it off, and yet I continually get this message. Can you tell me what's happening?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I plug mine in every night. I shut it off. I've got a cover that turns it off, just darkens it completely. And it backs up every night when I plug it in and I'm in a Wi-Fi zone in my home.
Well, that's what he needs to do.
And you've got to be in a Wi-Fi zone at home. Are you in a Wi-Fi zone at home?
No, I've got AT&T on the thing.
No, you have to have Wi-Fi to back it up to the cloud. Take it to, go to McDonald's and have a breakfast or something.
What about right here?
You can do it right here.
You can back up now.
You can back up right now. And there's a thing, back up right now. That might take a minute, but you can do that. Okay, now I want to go to this, while we're here, I want to go to this managed storage area.
Thank you very much.
Yep, is it working?
It's working.
Okay. Well, you can get this every week if you come to our club. How many in here live like south of town where there would be a convenient meeting? Okay, some. Okay, good. It's at the Central, at the library on Central. There's a conference room. It's not as nice as this, but it's about this size. Yes, ma'am.
Can you get back to my question about the number next to some of the icons? And also, could you give us some information on efficiently using the calendar?
Yes, okay. I'll get to that in just a minute. I want to just finish here. So I hit on that storage, about managing your storage, and what it shows is that on my iPhone, I'm using 4.5 gigabytes of storage, and my iPad 3, I'm using 2.3 gigabytes. You get a special prize if you can tell me why It takes so much to back up my iPhone. Not pictures. Videos, hey, I don't have any prizes today, but, okay. People will take their iPhone and they'll take videos. They'll take videos of their grandkids. They'll take videos of something in a store. They'll take videos of whatever. And they will transform them to their computer and they will forget to delete them from their iPhone. And they back up. And they take up a lot of storage, as you can see. So it's important to clear out those videos. It usually happens here, because a lot of people don't take videos. I think you can take videos through the iPad, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It also shows, and it will only show for the device that you are looking at this on. So this is showing my my iPad. If I had my iPhone on this, it would show the iPhone, and the first thing it would show would be videos right here. But on my iPad, the biggest amount of storage is being taken up by those 3,000 photos. And you can see 3,000 photos only takes 178, 72 megabytes. A movie will take up, a regular movie. It doesn't back up regular movies like a movie you would buy. It doesn't back those up. But those are like 1 gigabyte. They're huge, yes.
If you only have, hers only has change storage plan. All the other stuff that you've got above, she doesn't have any of that. She just has one line. Maybe she hasn't done any of it, which she's supposed to do. She only has that one bar that says change storage plan. That's all she has on
Let's
her.
strike that.
Well, that's because she must not be backing up.
Right.
Is she backing up? I mean, when you go to this page, does it say she used any of her storage?
Go back. Certainly her iCloud backup is off right now.
Okay. If it's off, then it probably says 5, and it probably says available 5.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So that's because you've got that off. Now, I want to go back to that for a minute, so I'm going to go back. I want to go back to that iCloud settings. And I want to look at this account. And I mentioned that my wife has hers, I have mine. That's because my contacts sync for me on my computers and so on, and iPads and iPhones and hers. She keeps hers separate. Now, when I get out of here and I go down to iTunes, okay, I'm going to go down there. And when you go down there, you see a different ID. This is the Apple ID that we use to buy everything. Remember I mentioned that they're different?
Yeah.
But if you look at hers, you'll see the same one right here. And that's something you have to set up. When you buy it, it'll want to use your iCloud one or a different one, and you have to go in and make sure that when you go to this area on your device, on your iPhone, on your tablet, and so on, that you always have your purchase one in here. Okay?
The purchase one doesn't have to be the iCloud.
It doesn't have to be. Now, if I wanted to use that for my iCloud and wanted her to use a different one for her iCloud and still use this one for all our purchases, we could. But we choose to just keep it completely separate. And just in case this question comes up, this ID is good for 10 devices, 5 of which can be Apple computers, or 10 iDevices. Some people are running into problems with that. I mean, you run into a family and they've got 6 kids and 2 adults, and you find out, well, they have, 6 or 7 iPads, they've got 2 or 3 computers, and all of a sudden they're running out of IDs. So it can be a problem. For most of us in here, it probably isn't. Yes?
The iCloud identification has to be added iCloud
Yes, they changed it to add iCloud, yes.
I can't, my wife's is backed up to her AOL, and it worked, but now I get a message that says.
Yes, okay, it has to be iCloud, yeah. Okay, so somebody else was asking, I think you were asking about syncing your apps. If I buy an app on one phone, or on my phone, will automatically go here. This is where you turn that on or off, and you notice that I have it off for apps. And the reason I have it off is because, again, certain apps that I buy for my iPhone, I don't want them to go. They're not designed for my iPad, so I don't want them to go there. It just clutters up. I've got over 250 apps now. Yes?
Can you change your Apple ID easily, question number one, and if you want to sync it with your husband or spouse?
Yes.
And number two, if he downloads an app, does that mean it automatically will go on to mine if we have the same Apple ID?
It will go on to yours if you have this box on your device. Otherwise, let's say he downloads iBooks. It's a free app, but any app. Let's say iBooks. He downloads iBooks and you don't have it. And this is off. Okay? And you go to, so you say, well, it's not on mine, so you go to the store and you go to download it. If it was one that was, if it was one that you paid for, it would say, you've already bought this, go ahead and download it. And you then download it on your device for free.
If you want to share it.
Yes.
What about changing the Apple ID?
You can change the Apple ID. You have to go on to the Apple site and type in changing your Apple ID, or go to iTunes and you might want to search there. They might have several. I know you can do it. I've never done it, but I went in there and that's where you can change your password and everything else. You can change it to a different email, but you cannot combine them. So if you're in a situation where you've been buying stuff on your own Apple ID and your husband's been buying stuff on his Apple ID, and you say, oh, this is a great idea, we're going to consolidate, Apple won't allow you to do that.
Start over.
You start with one or the other. Yes?
On the page, when you were in iCloud, only your ID showed up at the top. If two people share the same device, do you choose which iCloud ID you want to use at a given
No,
time?
you can only use one
On a given device?
on a given device.
Like,
I think if you go in and change it, if you both have iCloud accounts on different computers, and yours happens to be on the iPad, then it's going to be syncing to your computer. If you go in and change it to hers, then all of a sudden your stuff is going to disappear from the iPad, and her stuff is going to appear, and it gets crazy.
On our iMac, we log in separately, so that we handle email separately, but you cannot do that with an iPad, is that correct?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Can you tell me why I don't see under settings, I don't have the iTunes and App Store listed? And I don't have music and videos under settings?
You should have those things right here. Are you going down far enough?
Well, am I supposed to be on settings in iCloud?
You're supposed to be on settings.
Okay, I'm on settings.
Okay, you have this at the top?
Yes.
Okay, then you want to scroll down,
Oh, found it, thank you.
okay? Yes,
Can you go over cellular network data usage, see how do you keep track of how much you use? You know, you pay for a certain amount of gigabytes per month.
the best way to do that is both Verizon and AT&T have a free app that you can download. I think you can go on that app and sign in at any time, and you can find out how much where you are on your usage. They will both send you email warnings when you reach a certain level. I know when I reach 50%, I get an email from Verizon.
What is tether data?
Tether, Verizon allows you to tether. I don't know if AT&T does for free, but Verizon does. And if I turn tether on this device, then if you were right here, I could get you right on the internet. If the library's internet wasn't working, I could get you on the internet with my tether. It would use up my data. So I'd probably say, no, I'm not gonna do that. The tether means tether to another device. And that's what you're doing with the MiFi. That Wi-Fi device, it's creating a Wi-Fi zone that you can tether to. Yes?
Can you open the Safari and tell me why you should use it?
Yeah, I'll tell you about Safari, but I want to go to mail first. There's some important things in mail that I want to go over. If there's anything else I want to go over here. I can spend 3 days talking about everything on this page, but let's go over to mail. Now, here's my mail, okay? Let's talk about first setting up mail. I'm going to go to settings first, go back into settings. Okay, we're starting here at the top, and we're going to go down right here to mail and contacts. That's where you set them up. And you'll see how many I've got set up. Quite a few. I've got iCloud. I got this one, which is inactive. I've got Yahoo, which is my main one. I've got a regular Gmail. I have a Gmail that I don't use. It's called iOS.rules4me. I've got this one, which I set up. Guess what that one's for? Now, so whenever I do a political contribution or I do anything where I know they're going to email me 50,000 times, I use this email address right here. Now, and then you see I'm subscribed to a couple calendars, and they're both calendars that are from the NMUGS group, and I don't know why I'm subscribed to 2 of them, but I am. So I had to get rid of one of them. So turn that one off. And then, I don't know if I delete it or not. So, oh yeah, delete. Okay. I'll delete that one. Okay, so now I got one. I don't know why I had 2. Okay, so that's what you would do if you become a club member. You'd subscribe to that calendar, and then the meeting dates and the times and everything appears on your calendar. Now, I want to go, so that's where you set up mail, and it's different for each one. Let me just show you that. So here's Yahoo. And these are pretty well, let me stop. These are pretty well, easy to do. So if you go to add an account, okay, it comes up and it says what kind you want to add. So it makes it really easy to do if you've got the standard ones. And if I'm adding a new account, it's a Gmail. Gmail is just so easy to use, and I like it a lot. Yahoo, the only reason I keep my Yahoo is because it's the first one I ever had, and so you know how that goes. But if you want to set up one of these, you just start by hitting it right there, and it walks you right through it. But I've already got Yahoo set up, and when you set it up, it says, what do you want to do with this? I want mail from Yahoo. I don't want contacts, I don't want their calendar, I don't want their reminders, and I don't want their notes. Okay, I'm keeping my notes on my iPad, I'm keeping my calendar on the iPad, I'm not keeping it on Yahoo. If you were keeping it on Yahoo, and you wanted that, then this is where you would check it to make sure it came into your calendar. Now, it's a little bit different for Gmail. Gmail, there's 3. There's notes, calendar, and mail. So it's a little bit different for that. Now, if you go to iCloud, the same old iCloud thing that we already reviewed comes up. Okay? Now we've gone through how to set up this mail. I'm going to go to mail now. I've got it down here. There's 33 messages that I haven't looked at. And when I go out here to all my mailboxes, here they all are. And it shows, and really, these are all the inboxes. I usually go right down to this area here, and this is where I open them. There's a reason for that. But it shows the 5 or 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I'm using. Very little in this iCloud thing. And that'll be something from Apple. But Yahoo a lot, and that's where I get a lot of junk. The Gmail is those are usually me from personal friends, because I'm more restrictive on that. And then I don't have too much in the junk area. But I want to go into one of these. Let's go into the Yahoo. There's 25 that I haven't looked at. A lot of these will be seeking alpha, which are financial stuff. So if you want, I want to show a few things here real quickly. And that is, if you want to delete, you can't mass delete, but they make that a little easy. If you hit edit, okay, then you'll notice that these circles appear. And if I highlight the circle, I can just then delete them. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to hit on a bunch of these, and a summary of them pops up, a little summary if you want to look at it. There's my past due account from my club that I'm having a battle with. Okay, so I'll delete a few more of these. I mean, a lot of these, this is what I end up doing once or twice a day. It's just coming in, and a lot of these I'll want to just get rid of. So, okay, I've gotten rid of, and it says I'm going to delete 19. Gives me a total right here. Okay? Or I can move them. But for right now, I'm just going to delete them. So I hit delete, and then they're gone. Okay? Now, let's suppose that this Greg Walker, the guy with the dues, I emailed him yesterday, and he's given me some instructions on what I need to do because they changed the billing system. So, but let's say I think, oh, this is important, and I don't have time to deal with it now, but I want to mark it as important. You can flag it right up here. So I can flag that, okay? Flag it. Notice there's a flag there now, okay? Now, it's flagged. And I know, hey, I got to go back to this or it's important. The other thing that happens, if I go all the way back out here, there's a couple categories that they've added. One is flagged items, all of them together, and the other one is VIP. You can establish somebody as a VIP. Now, how do you establish somebody as a VIP? Well, we've got this guy from the club, and if I want to establish him as a VIP, I hold down, and when I hold on his name, it comes up, add the VIP. Okay? Now I'm going to add him to VIPs. And now there's a star by his name. Now here in the address book and everything else. And it'll also appear right here. Okay? He's VIP. Now I go into these flagged items. Okay? Notice this is there because it's the last one that I flagged. Okay? As being important. Along with a lot of other ones in here that I flagged. And some of them go back quite a ways. Every once in a while I have to go back and I have to, oh yeah, I've dealt with this and get rid of it, just get rid of it. Yes, sir.
Can you set up a junk file and tag stuff so that in the future when it comes in, because a lot of people today, when you hit unsubscribe, they'll unsubscribe you, but they, to pay you off for unsubscribing, I swear they send your name out to 40 different people.
Well, you got to be very careful. Yeah, you got to be very careful about that kind of thing. But in answer to your question, there's not a way to do that on here. You have to do that at the source. Is the best way, or to have a program on your computer at home that does it. And the problem with that is it won't filter down to the iPad. But the best way to do that is like I go to Yahoo, and Yahoo allows me to set up filters. If the filter says free money, if anywhere in the email description it says free, put it in the free junk file, and you can set that up or put it in trash.
If I did a spam, it won't come come back to you.
Or mark it as spam and it won't come, yeah, it won't come back. They have that marker
Yeah.
in Yahoo.
But not
In,
here.
in Google, no. In Google, they have their own, and you have to go in and set up things. Now, one of the things that happens with our club members is you can get a lot of emails from the club. I don't know how many I have today, but if I go into, I have them in a folder. And the folder I set up, it's a Gmail account. I actually went to the source, which is gmail.com, into my mail there. And if you search how to set up a filter, it'll walk you through the steps. And basically the filter says, anytime I get an email that says anything about mugs, put it in this folder. Because, I mean, look at how many I just got today. This is our board, okay? And a lot of these, like this was a presentation yesterday, and people were having some questions about it. You know, and here's somebody who has a question about Akai backup drives. So every day I go through here and sort of get rid of this and clear it out. I'll answer questions if I can. George answers a lot of them. But a lot of new members are just overwhelmed by this because it's coming, all of a sudden they're getting 20 emails a day in their regular inbox. And, oh my God, what can I do? And the thing to do is that when you set it up and sign up for the club, choose the right email address. If you want, go set up a new one, a Google one, a Google Mugs email account, whatever you want to name it. And then just use that and it'll go all into that account. That's one way. Or to actually go into your Gmail or your Yahoo and set up a filter to put it into a folder. Yes?
Sir, you had a mailbox called recently deleted. How did you set that up?
Okay, now,
This is just in Yahoo.
when you're in a mailbox, for example, well, if you want to delete a mailbox, you can edit here. If you want to move them around, you can edit here and move them around. See the things? So I can move the order around. I can just drag that up there if I want to. Okay, but if I'm in a mailbox, like let's go to Gmail. I'm in a mailbox and somebody says, well, how do you get this folder set up to begin with? How do you get one like for receipts or for notes or for Maryland? How do you do it in Bike Club? I'm in a Bike Club, and so as in bicycle, not Harleys. I gave that a while. How do you get that set up? Well, the way you do it is you hit up here on Edit. Okay, it says Add a new mailbox. And I go in here and I say, okay, test. Okay, save it. Now if I go down here, should be there, where is it?
Right there.
No, yeah, test, they're in alphabetic order. So now I go out and I'm done. And I go out, I want to pick something that's meaningless.
Is that in mail or was that in Gmail?
That was in Gmail, but it'd be the same. I was just in the Gmail account. I picked that account. I could have picked any of them. That doesn't do it automatically. This isn't the automatic filter that I was talking about. This is how to set up a folder. So I'm going to go back into the Gmail where I set that test up. There it is, test. And I'm going to go into the inbox. And I go to the inbox and I say, aha, I got this Wall Street Journal thing. Let's go to that. And I'm going to put that in a folder. And the way you do that is right up here, folder. Okay, comes up. Now, the inbox is grayed out because that's where it's coming from. Then I'm going to go right down and I'm going to put it into test. Okay? I'm done. So now I'm going to go back out and I'm going to go to the test folder. And there it is. Okay? Now, Let's go back into here, and I'm gonna hit edit again. Edit. And I'm gonna go down here to this test, and I'm gonna delete it. And when I delete it, it'll remove the message from the account, and I'm fine with that. I didn't need that Wall Street Journal one. So I'll delete that, and now test will be gone. Yes?
If you hit delete on the iPhone 5 and then you want to retrieve it again, you've already put it in the trash, is there a way to retrieve out of the trash on the
Yes.
iPhone 5?
Yes, you can look for it, you can search for it. If you know what the email said, you can search for it.
Where do you search for it?
Well, let me just look here. The easiest way to search is probably by going out. You go out here and you go to this area, which is a push on the home button, and you search. And so Wall Street Journal, there's an app, and here's emails that mention the Wall Street Journal. So if you knew what the email was, you just pick it out and grab it there. That's the one way to do it.
Oh.
Yes?
Why do I get if I have something attached and it won't open it, it'll send it to Evernote? Why is it doing this? I mean, is there something else that I should be setting up that it sends it to open it? There is no Adobe, correct?
There is no Adobe. So you can send it to Evernote, you can send it to other apps. It might be that Evernote is the only one that you have on your device that will open it. If you look at, I just had that yesterday, but I still have it on here. Let me look at this.
Is Evernote the best, or is there another?
No, Evernote is not necessarily the best.